wordt het gewoon echt een teringzooi. Voetbal, je kunt beter thuis blijven.
Wrong one. Wrong one. So, good evening. As you heard, we have the Swedish chef herself, Mary, along with us tonight. She's Dutch. And we every now and again she comes on and jumps on. She's always been a brilliant guest. We have Mr. Wayne himself in the building, and Mr. Josh,
Hello.
unfortunately, at the moment is working, I think, what he calls the swing shift. So he won't be able to come on for a little while until he sorted his shifts out. But he will be back after that.
So he's working at a playground then?
Yes, he works the swing shift and occasionally the seesaw shift too. We are also, I'm trying to do it so that we're live on TikTok too. So let me put this over here and do it like that. And there you go. You got a fantastic view of C3PO Metal Leg there on TikTok. So yeah, we're live on TikTok as well. Right, okay, because it was literally as the credits were rolling, I went, oh shit, I haven't done TikTok. So for all of you people out there who are watching or not watching or whatever, we're on TikTok. Go and give us a like, Anyway, it's not often we talk about ghosties and ghoulies on here, because it's nearly always conspiracies and UFOs and cryptozoology, because cryptozoology, UFOs, that's my thing, Josh's thing. But the ghosts is Wayne's thing, and it's still a passion of mine as well, but I'm more into the UFOs because it's happening, it's here, we're going to, So I thought tonight we'll have Mary on, because always good guest, and these two they will about ghosts and stuff, and I'll just sit there and go, yes, aliens. So, and the talking mongoose, was it Marvin the talking mongoose? Because that's amongst the ghost ones. Was it Marvin the talking? I think it's did he burp or say
When
I thought you but I'm sure it's was it Marvin the talking mongoose?
Yeah, I think so. I've heard the name before.
He lives in the walls of a house and he talked to people and stuff. I promise you, no drugs are involved. So I mean, I don't know about Mary. She does live in the Netherlands.
We had a few ghosts talking during a live podcast.
All right. Well, in that case, you two discuss ghosts.
Thanks.
Well,
I'm still sharing. I'm still sharing out. I'm doing my bit for the show. I'm sharing it on TikTok and everywhere else. And if you look at your TikTok feed, you'll see Carl Hutchison has joined the live feed on TikTok.
How you doing? We'll have to have you on one night if you would like to. So drop me a message, Carl.
I'm not on TikTok now, but I saw Carl come in. I hope you're well, Carl. He's gone through a lot just recently, so I hope you're doing all right, mate.
Oh yes, I've been watching away in the background there. Hello, Lilo. Hello. And for those of you who want to know, Ghost the Paranormal Pooch is absolutely well and fine and scared the living daylights. What are you doing, Lilo? She's right in front of the camera on the TikTok one going, "Ooh." She's alive and well, scared the crap out of me earlier, which is her job to do. So, and she's downstairs at the moment. But yeah, all is good. Alice, good. Why don't we start tonight, because we're going to do about ghosts and stuff. One of you guys talk about your best investigation or best thing that scared the living daylights out of you whilst you've been doing an investigation, or both.
I had one who really scared the living daylights out of me. We went to a forest in the area, and it's a departure route for World War II, and it's always interesting. People fled that path, and we thought, let's go there and see if we catch some EVPs. Well, we heard a lot of things, footsteps, but there are deer, there are rodents, there are foxes, there are wolves. So I discarded everything as wildlife. So we packed up to go to another place. And the person which I was with, she stopped. And she said, I saw a light. I said, oh my God, the police, we are going to get a fine. Right. No one there. No one there. No lights, nothing. So I turned around, said two steps, and there came something rushing at me bipedal. It scared the living daylights out of me.
Something bipedal rushing at you in the woods.
Yeah. And I didn't run. I didn't scream. I just had my backpack and I walked like badass towards.
I can say, no bloody monkey's going to scare me. That's what that was, wasn't it?
No. And we tried to recreate it. We went back with a bunch of guys. For sure, it was bipedal. But the fastest one couldn't even copy the rushes we heard that night. It's interesting, okay. And we're going back again.
Definitely a good one. I like that.
Yeah.
Wayne?
I don't know. I think my sort of craziest experience has been with Harrods Redoubt Fort in the prison cells here in Essex.
With the RAF.
There's three cells inside Harrods Redoubt Fort that you used to be able to go into, and they were all done up as they were during World War II. And each one had a mannequin dummy dressed up as a German pilot. And for some unknown reason, I was getting the name Klaus, which is a bit stereotypical, but I just nicknamed this Spirit Klaus. And I literally just said, Klaus, are you here with us? And then we started setting up experiments. We put a trigger object on the bed, and it was like a little boxing ring with a red light on each corner. You put a ball in the middle, and you set the alarm on it. And if the ball moved, the alarm would go off.
Yeah.
So next to the bed was this mannequin. I'm standing in the doorway to this prison cell. And another investigator, Claire, was sitting to my left in the left-hand corner. So she was about 16 foot away from this mannequin dummy. Yeah. And we're sitting there, we're calling out, and I'm like, Klaus, can you please come forward, please? I know you're here. And Claire just turned around to me and she said, you know what? Every time those red lights are flashing, the mannequin dummy's moving. So I've stopped what I'm doing and I'm staring at this mannequin dummy, expecting, like she'd said, to see it moving. And I couldn't. I turned the torch onto it. I could not see it moving. And I just turned around to her and said, no, I said, it's not moving, but I can feel the atmosphere's changing. The air's, there's something wrong. Something is going to happen. And as I said that, this mannequin dummy literally came at me from across the other side of the room. I went, oh my God, and I've grabbed it. I've grabbed it by the shoulders. The head's fallen off and hit the floor. Poor Claire's jumped up. She's gone, fuck that, I'm not here for this. And boom, she's gone. She left me standing there in this prison cell with this mannequin. The head's starting to roll across the floor, so I'll put the foot on it to stop it from rolling away. And then 3 team members were in the 3rd cell, and they were filming dowsing rods. And they were asking, if there's anybody in this cell block with us, can you please cross the rods over? And as the rods cross, you heard Claire in my cell go, fuck, I'm not here for this. And they turned the camera to see her run down the corridor and out into the courtyard. And this little weird shaped ball of light came out of that prison cell and followed her out into the courtyard.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
They've then come into me to see me standing there holding this mannequin dummy. I am peeing myself laughing. And I'm like, does somebody want to help me here? I've got a mannequin dummy that's just about ready to fall apart, and I've got the head under my foot. And they're like, oh, wait, let's sort it out. And of course, when we correlated everything and looked at the timings of the dowsing rods, it all linked in time.
Yeah.
But the disappointing part of that now is their security cameras picked that up.
Yeah.
And they turned around and their answer to it was, we're going to tie the mannequin dummies to the wall now so they can't do it again. Now you can't get in the cells at all. The first 2 cells are out of bounds now. They've locked the doors.
Oh.
So you can't physically go in there now.
Is that under health and safety, or is that fuck that, we're not having that done again?
Their excuse, their official excuse was because too many people were going in there and scratching the walls, and the walls have got the original whitewash on them.
I had heard that people were doing graffiti on there.
Yeah, and you walk in there and it's got Bob was here in 2024 on there. And their excuse was that people were doing that. But I think there was another excuse to that, and it was in regards to that mannequin. Because it was very short. It was very shortly after that happened that they locked the doors.
Seems highly convenient that that's happened, and then they do that. But can everybody on TikTok hear us all? Because we're doing we're having a 3-way, and the cat's involved too. Well, I'm trying to think anything that's actually scared me. Like, I've never really done an investigation where I've jumped. I've done ones like Wayne's done where other people have been scared, and I've ended up laughing my head off. I'll tell you one. Wayne knows this story. I won't mention the person's name. I don't, because I don't want to bless his cotton socks. I don't want him to go, oh. But we were in the Kelton Hatch nuclear bunker. Yeah. And there's a certain person who goes to a lot of paranormal events, and he's got like a massive camera, like BBC, or with these huge lights. You know exactly what I'm talking about, with all these huge lights and everything. He's a lovely guy, but he always has this huge camera and walks around and he makes all these videos and he edits them, and you know. And
it was your typical 1980s handheld video camera. It wasn't. It was more like one of these ones that you had to have a tripod on wheels to actually cart it about. It was that big.
And it was a proper one. It was like a proper TV.
You had it mounted on your shoulder.
Yeah,
it's the only way you can hold it.
And every place I've been, he was always there. Nice guy, really nice guy, but. He's one of these, you know yourself, like in the paranormal world, you can't take it too seriously. You have to have it pinch of salt, and you have to have fun with it. If you take it too seriously, take yourself too seriously, that's when you start rubbing people up the wrong way. And that's when you start making a nose for yourself, a name for yourself for being a bit of a tit, you know. And you know yourself in the paranormal world, we all know people like that who've gone that way. But this guy in particular, like I say, really nice guy. He's not like that. I can still see him now. He's got a very strange walk, a unique walk. And with that camera, we're all like, he used to be a porn director. So, you know. Anyway, he set up this experiment, and it was a piece of paper with an ank on it, and he'd drawn round the ank. And it's an experiment you guys at home could do, you know? Just get a piece of white paper, put any object on it and draw around it in black Sharpie and just leave it there. And if it gets moved slightly, make sure it's a dead flat surface so nothing can disturb it. And I heard him coming down, walking down the you know where the classrooms are at the top there? Alexa, stop listening. You know where the classrooms are at the top? It was in the end classroom. And I heard him walking down. He was saying, I'm going to set my experiment up. So I hid behind the wall. I'm an arsehole. And he sets his, bless him, he set this experiment up. And he'd done it all. And he had it, I'm sure it was an Anki he had on it. Were you there, Wayne?
No.
I remember Kerry Greenaway and...
I don't know, I might have been. I've lost track of how many times I've been there.
Yeah. I think Carl might have been there as well. But, and he had this piece of paper in his hand and he drew around it. And I'm hiding around there and I go... and he's walked out and gone back down the other end of the hall through the doors. I've come straight in there, gone up to it and gone... And I've just moved it a little bit. And then carried on my merry way. About half an hour later, all you hear is an almighty shout from him. Oh my God, it's moved! And that was it. I was in hysterics downstairs. He's running around like one of the Thunderbirds puppets, going around telling everybody, oh my God, my experiment, it's actually fucking moved. And I'm like, I did make a point of telling a couple of people there, and they just thought it was absolutely hilarious. He never knew. He never found out. But yeah, if you're watching, that was me. I'm so sorry. Not sorry. Sorry. Not sorry. But it was absolutely hilarious. It really was that one.
We did upset him once. We went to Harrods Redoubt Fort. We did an all-nighter until literally breakfast time. And we were camping in the dry moat. Now, this fort, Mary, has got... the only way I can describe it is a giant concrete donut set in a crater on top of a hill. It's the best way to describe it. And it has a dry moat all the way around the outside of it. So we'd gone there for the investigation. We'd set everything up. We'd done the evening. But we'd also set up our tents in the dry moat. So, of course, this guy was there with his massive video camera and his giant spotlight. And he not on purpose, but he'd been annoying quite a few people throughout the night. And
his spotlights, they're like oblongs, and they're about that by that, and he has two, one on each side of the camera. Yeah. So he goes, "How are you doing in the dark on a lone vigil?" And you're like, "I can't fucking see now," you know. So
it's like literally like a football stadium spotlight.
Exactly.
When he turned that on, everybody goes blind.
It's like, not my lightsabers, way brighter than my lightsabers. Like proper, I am dead. My eyeballs are singed. My retina's burnt, melted. You know, cats that were near the area, any woodlands, wildlife or fauna, all the hair's burnt off them, everything. It's that bad.
But it was literally, I mean, he'd upset quite a few people by just walking in while we were doing a seance. So we'd all be sitting there and we'd be calling out the spirit, asking if there's anybody there, can you please come forward? And all of a sudden he'd come walking in through the door with his spotlight on, and you'd be like, "Oh, turn him off." So it got to the end of the night and we all went back to the tents and it was just a free-for-all. So everybody had got in their tents and all of a sudden I just went, "Night, Jim Bob." Next minute it was night, Ma, night, Pa, night, Dad, night, Ma, night, Cindy, night, this. And we were literally just going around everybody that were pitched up in tents, and he was getting really annoyed with it. And he went, "Oh, will you lot, for God's sake, can you go to bed? We've only got a couple of hours and we've got to be up again." And we're like, yeah, okay, all right, sorry. And it went quiet. And then after about 20 minutes, someone went, "Night, Ma, night, Pa, night, John Boy." And that was it. And he went, "No, that's it, I've had enough." And he packed all his stuff up, went out through the gate and drove home.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Sure.
He was so annoyed because by the time we all just said, "That's it, there's no point going to sleep now," I was all right because I had the less distance to go. I was only 20 minutes down the road, so it didn't bother me. But by the time we'd all actually managed to get our heads down, I think we had about 45 minutes rest before we all had to get up anyway. But by that time, he'd already gone.
I think was it Harrods Redoubt? or the Coalhouse Fort. Coalhouse Fort. I scared the crap out of Kerry Greenaway there one day. So I do play pranks when I go on investigations. If it's dead, sometimes you'll go there and all the energy's gone. It's been rinsed.
Yeah.
And Redoubt Fort was like that. There was a few little things going on. I did all the baseline readings at the beginning. Baseline readings, for those of you who don't do it, is you just go around and you check the air temperature, the local temperature, whether there's any wind, whether you got any electricity in the ground coming out, whether there's high EMF, low EMF, whatever. But I was doing all that, absolutely flat still. And then, do you know the legend about the Coalhouse Fort at midnight when you can hear somebody on the stairs at the top?
Yeah, because there's a very similar story at Harrods Redoubt as well.
Well, yeah, same thing. And I can remember being in there, and it was dead, and I was like, right. And I was going around, doing the temperatures and everything for the other places, just after midnight. And I heard Kerry coming down the steps, and I've hidden in the doorway. And she's on her own, and I think she was live streaming or something like that as well. And she's doing all this stuff. And as she walks past me, I just walked over, "Yeah, Kerry," and carried on what I was doing. And she screamed and chattered herself. She, proper. And I'm like, so.
But so, Mary, just recently you've been up in Scotland. So you went to Edinburgh.
Yes.
And you went underground.
We went underground. I went to the vaults and to the Greyfriars Cemetery. Of course.
All right, yeah.
And how did you feel in the vaults? Because I've been in the vaults myself, and a couple of times that I've been down there, it's been pretty oppressive, and the atmosphere has been really strange and unsettling.
It's a strange atmosphere, but we had a big group. During the tour, we went with 14 people, but there was this first vault where this group of witches had their ceremonies and seances at the first time, and our guide made a couple of jokes and told us a ghost story. And Lois looked at me. I said, "Don't tempt me. Don't tempt me." So I stepped into the circle, but a rush of cold air came over me. And the second vault, which is closed because you can't get in, and there's a pentagram, some ropes, and it's so much energy over there. And I made actually a few pictures, and 3 in a row. And in the last one, we see something hovering over the pentagrams.
Okay.
Right.
And I couldn't explain it.
Well, whatever it was that was floating over that pentagram managed to wipe Lois's memory, because I asked Lois if we went into the room with the pentagram in it, and she said no, we didn't see any pentagrams.
Oh my God.
Because that to me was one of the most fascinating parts of going down there, was the room with the pentagram in it.
Yeah.
And so I said to Lois, "Well, did you actually go in there into the room with the pentagram in it?" And she went, "No, I didn't see no pentagrams." And I'm like, okay. And then I saw your picture of the pentagram, and I'm like, hang on a minute, Mary's seen the pentagram, so how did you not see the pentagram?
She was standing next to me. Oh my God.
Oh dear.
Too many haggis.
Maybe she got her glasses.
Yeah.
To be fair,
if she forgets them this weekend, I ain't going to be happy. We're having a little team meet-up over at Rendlesham Forest.
Oh, I heard something about that. That's so cool.
We're looking forward to that.
It's awesome. I can't be there, I'm afraid, guys, because I've got a wedding to pay for and stuff like that.
I can't be there anything. Well, I have a UFO event here in Hilversum, so I'm going to watch that movie.
Disclosure date.
that one.
One of the things I want to talk to you about is a thing that I read about. You know, we've spoken before about Disclosure and how he's, for those of you who don't know, Disclosure's the Spielberg film. And
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I keep turning away. I've got to keep looking at this one as well because I realise I'm neglecting that as well. But Spielberg, because for those of you watching on TikTok, we're all massive UFO ufologist people. Spielberg was in and out of Trump's office for months and months and months, lots and lots of meetings prior to doing Disclosure Day, during, and on the wrap up to it. And then after all these meetings, Spielberg was interviewed and he said, I am 100% certain that we are not alone on the earth or in the universe, and we haven't been for a long time. And I'm telling you that I'm convinced that Disclosure Day is all to do with the Boberman, the US Boberman, and it is all part of soft disclosure. And then they can go, we just showed you. We just told you what disclosure is. So when people can go, well, what's this and what's that? Just, well, we'll watch that because it was done with Spielberg. And it's kind of us telling you. And I'm sure, absolutely sure that a lot of that is to do with soft disclosure. What are your guys' thoughts on it?
Yeah.
I definitely think so, because when you look at Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and he used, I can't remember his name now.
Hynek.
That's it. Heimlich maneuver. That's how I remember his name. So they had him as the UFO advisor, and he ended up actually being in the film.
Yeah.
When the aircraft came down and dropped off all those people, and they did the swap over.
Yep.
He was there and in that scene. So I think this has all been done on purpose, and I think a lot of the UFO movies over the last 4 decades have all slowly been drip feeding that information to us so that we're used to the idea of alien beings.
Yeah.
You know, you look at E.T., even if they're good or bad, you look at E.T., Mac and Me, then you go Independence Day, Signs, you know, whether they're good or bad, they've been injecting the thought of alien beings into our psyche for the last 4 or 5 decades through the movies.
Yeah.
To actually get us used to the idea.
Yeah, I totally agree. I've noticed there's been lots of stuff going on, especially with Trump and Nordics. There's been lots of things going up on Truth Proof and all this stuff of Trump talking to Nordics, speaking to Nordics. There was one where he had a really tall grey in cuffs and this, that, and the other, which I don't think would happen. I don't think they'd have him in cuffs because if they wanted to, they could just zap them off, you know. But it just seems odd that all this stuff is going on with the Nordics. You know, tall, really tall blondes in uniforms. Could that be perhaps edging us towards accepting Galactic Alliance?
If you're referring to ones that have been seen on TikTok, they're AI.
Yeah.
No, I know they're all AI. I'm not saying they're real.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying any of them are real. But he's been putting lots of stuff out there. He did have them on the media as well.
There's been a series of TikTok videos go out there where Donald Trump has been getting on Air Force One with very tall Nordic, you know, the old blonde hair, blue-eyed, 6 foot tall beings, but they've been wearing long red and gold cloaks, and they follow Trump up the steps onto Air Force One. There's been like loads of them filtering through on TikTok, and the amount of people that have got suckered into it, and you're like, you can clearly see that's AI because they're moving wrong.
I don't know. I don't mean those ones as in being real. I mean, it's the fact that generically and altogether, he himself has been putting loads of stuff with, in particular, Nordics on. And then there was that thing, was it yesterday or the day before, where he's come down the steps and people have been focusing on the woman that was behind him. And if you see, there's just something off, something not right about the woman herself. Don't know who she is or anything, but she was at he was giving some talk and her fingers were going my fingers gone weird. His fingers were going weird and like going, and I don't know what that was about, but it just seems odd that there's been. Perhaps I'm part alien. Maybe I'm a hybrid. I look like the bloody Mekon anyway, so you know.
In reply to Noreen, because Noreen asked it a good few minutes ago, it's going to be myself, Lois, Lynn, Tim, and Jacqueline Dixon. I think there might be a couple more.
Remember all the bitey insects that bite you to death in the middle of that forest too.
They don't like me.
Oh, poor Lois.
They didn't like Rachel either, did they? Well, have you been to Rendlesham, Mary?
Huh?
Have you ever been to Rendlesham Forest?
No, it's on my bucket list. The first thing I'm going to do is probably Dublin, but I don't make the choice. I talked to Jenny, and she said if you come over, we are going to Lap Castle. So it's going to be a hard choice.
My family all live in Dublin and Roscommon and all places over there because I've got an Irish passport and everything. When you go over there, Leap Castle or Leap Castle, I think it's they call it most of the time, but check out what do they call it? Is it an oubliette? I can't remember what it's called.
Oubliette.
Just I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to spoil it for you. Check it out. Oh, and do you know what Blackpool is? Blackpool. Do you know what Dublin means in Gaelic?
Have no clue.
Blackpool. We have a Blackpool over here, which is known for its tower and everything. Blackpool.
Blackpool.
Yeah. But in Gaelic, Dublin means Blackpool. Useless bit of information for you, but there you go.
We're going to try to, Noreen. We're going to try to, reception permitting.
We tried to last time we were there, wouldn't we? And we just couldn't get a signal.
Reception kept coming and going so much, didn't it? That it was so difficult to actually get a live feed going because no sooner as the reception was there, you press live, and all of a sudden the reception just went and gone.
For God's sake, let me know. Like, if you do manage to get a live, add me into it because I want to see if we're going to see the same things that we saw in the circle. Remember? Yeah,
if I can't go live, I'm definitely going to be filming, regardless.
Yeah.
Because after what we saw last time, I'd be stupid not to.
Explain. I don't know if you know, Mary. When we were there was. I'll let Wayne talk. Wayne talk.
Basically, we went to Rendlesham Forest to film for an episode of Truth Beyond Paranormal. So we all descended onto the forest. We started off at the East Gate, and right from the word go, strange stuff was going on. As we were walking away from the East Gate, which is where the original sighting was, the first physical sighting was. We walked away from there, and a white pickup truck turned up with two security guards, and they stood there and watched us walking away. Then, when we got down to the bottom of the runway on the outside of the forest road, they brought the pickup truck down to the bottom of the runway and sat there watching. And then, when we actually went down the footpath towards the tourist part of the landing site, because it's not the official landing site.
Yeah.
They'd actually come out of the base through the East Gate and down to the car park and were watching us going down the footpath. So, and we'd already noticed this, but all night something just didn't seem right. And then we had a guy, we sent two guys back to the car park to go and get some lights. They went out one way and got lost and ended up coming back into the area where we were from the other side of where we were. Didn't have any lights on them. And they were like, well, haven't you got the lights? And they went, no, we got lost. We said, well, all you had to do was go out onto the footpath through that way, turn right and follow the footpath straight back to the car park. You couldn't get lost. You couldn't get lost if you tried, but somehow they ended up going in a circle.
Right, because they ended up down the back of it, didn't they?
Yeah, came in the other side. And then we kept hearing footprints all around us. And they were, again, they were human footprints. They weren't deer or anything like, or rabbits or anything like that. Obviously, big difference between, the three. And then Mark all of a sudden went, Wayne, you might want to look up. And I went, what? And he went, look over there, look, there's a light up there. That weren't there before. And on one side of the clearing, there was this solid white light. No, it was the five before.
Oh, right. Yeah.
There was a solid white light on one side of the clearing, and it sat there for about a minute. And then it just vanished.
Yeah.
It just shot off to the east and was gone. Then another one popped on the other side of the clearing, stayed there for about a minute or so, then shot off in an eastward direction. We're like, okay, that's weird. Then there was another two, came from the west, right overhead and headed east. And we sat there watching it go over. And then as we were watching it,
we got them to look as well.
As we were watching them two disappear in the east, we saw one heading from south to north in the eastern direction, but it was making like a wave pattern as it was going up. And we're like, okay, that's really weird. We called up the radar application on the phones. No aircraft in that area at all.
No space
was showing up with no responder or nothing. No SpaceX satellites. The International Space Station was in the area. And then Mark just turns around and he says, Wayne, you might want to look up. And I went, why? And I looked up and all we could see was this great big, it was massive, was this great big black triangle.
Yeah.
And
never seen anything like it.
You couldn't see through it.
Real.
Yeah. You couldn't see through it. What we saw was this big black triangle. The moon was out and it was reflecting its light off the wisps of clouds that were passing underneath it.
And it had the three.
That's how big it was and how high up it was.
And you could see stars around it, underneath it, all the way around the sides. And as Wayne said, when the clouds were coming underneath, because the moonlight was shining off it, you could see the clouds reflecting. But where the triangle was, there was no stars. You could see, we managed to take a photo on it, and it's up on the Dark Mirror Facebook page somewhere. Look in the photos and you'll see it. And that's the actual craft that we saw. But this thing, we estimated its size. It was huge.
It had to have been, yeah.
This was easily stratosphere, wasn't it? It was way up there. Oh God!
It was above the cloud line. And, the wisps of cloud going underneath it with the moon reflecting off it. The moon was at a different angle, but it was still higher than the clouds. And as we're standing there going, oh, my God, and we took the photo and everything else, that too went straight off in an easterly direction. Then we heard the jet. We heard two jet engines, and we looked up and we saw these two jets come flying over in an easterly direction out into the North Sea. We checked on the flight radar and those two jets were picked up on the radar. Nothing else was.
But
and we were just like, oh my God.
This triangle had to be, we're talking 2 miles across because of how high it was and the
probably and the rest.
We're talking like, and I've never seen anything that big.
I mean, we've seen images of the TR-3B, which is pretty much as close to that as what we're going to get. But you're looking 100 times the size of that easily.
Yeah, it was classic triangle, three white lights, but you're talking each side. Because of where it was, we could see it, and the fact it was so high up and you could see the clouds passing underneath, each side of that triangle had to have been 2 miles, 2.5 miles at least, because of, for us to see it that big, when you go into Rendlesham Forest where the UFO landed, they put a memorial UFO there, a metal one, and we were sitting on the metal one, looking directly above us in it's a copse of trees, and in the copse of trees you got the clearing above. It was there, and it took out a good third of the copse just where it was sat. and it was so high, like I say, you could see the clouds passing underneath it with the light from the moon reflecting on it. And we're looking up at it, and we were just like, we didn't hear it arrive. It just turned up. And
we didn't hear any of them, apart from the 2 jets. We didn't hear any of the other objects. And yet some of them are actually clearly moving.
And because when we were saying, look at this, and they're like, yeah, right, whatever. Then they looked, because they're all ghost hunters, weren't they? And then they looked up, and they were all like, fucking hell. You know? And I took a photo. It is on the Dark Mirror Radio Show's Facebook wall. Look on there, look under the photos, you can see it. And that was the actual photo of the actual craft that we saw that day. And I think it was then, wasn't it? That because you've always liked UFOs and space and stuff, but I think that day you were like, fuck. When you
it's very similar to going out paranormal investigating, looking for ghosts. You know, you've always got a skeptic, and someone will go, "Oh, well, I'll believe it when I see it," and then there will be the person that experiences something that they can't explain, they don't understand it, and they go, "It must have been a ghost because I can't debunk what I experienced." And it was the same feeling. I believed in beings from other worlds. I believed there are UFOs and aliens coming to Earth, but part of me didn't want to believe it unless I saw it.
Yeah.
And after that night, I'm like 100% now, without fail. That proved it to me that what I believed in is real.
One thing
we've got nothing that big.
No. Not even commercial, military. There's nothing. I think the biggest one is that Russian jet, that Russian carrier.
The Antonov.
Oh, Jesus.
What?
Is he there?
Jesus. What happened there?
Josh, you there? Josh?
Was Jesus coming in then?
He's there. I'm looking at his screen's at the bottom. I've put it down on our screen, but there's nothing.
It's not come up.
Josh, mate.
Josh
Come
has
in.
left the building.
Come again. Yeah, there's always that moment where something happens and it makes you either in later life or whatever. Now I'm going to tell you guys something that only a few people know, because I could be held up for ridicule and stuff. But quite frankly, with the way things are going, I'm going to tell you. I think Wayne knows all about it. There he is, isn't it?
What's up, Wayne? Yeah. Hello, everybody.
How's the beard?
It's good. Trimmed up.
Oh, he must be working at work. Are you at work? Are you joining us, or are you in a shop?
I am working.
Well,
you better get back to work before you get fired.
4th of July weekend, so it's pretty relaxed here, and I've been here for like 12.5 hours. I've been coming in way earlier than everybody else, trying to be good my first couple of weeks.
Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it, and it is good to see you back on show. I told everybody that you're doing the swing shift and stuff, and you'll try and come back on as and when you can. So, but it's good to see your shiny head and beard on the show tonight. But yeah, I was just about to tell everybody what you two know happened to me when I was little with my mum and the thing we saw.
Yeah.
Right. The whole thing that got me into ufology was when I was little. I must have been about 5 or 6 years old. We used to live in a lane, sort of was like that, in a row of cottages, old cottages. And opposite our cottage was 2 fields. It was all countryside and fields. And my mum and I just one day were like, what the hell is that in the field? It was like 2 fields back by a bank of trees. And it was like a red cigar, like a brick red cigar. And we saw this thing. I'm looking back now to when I saw it. It must have been about 70 foot long, something like that. And we saw.
I think you were taken.
The next thing that would explain a lot, mate. That would explain so much. But we saw this thing, and then when we looked at it again, it had like a like a ramp or something right at the back on the side, leaning down, and it was just open, hallway had opened and turned into like this ramp thing. And then we don't know anything. And it was about, I think she said it was like 2.5 hours later. We're just there in the same place on the sofa looking out the window, and it's gone, and the time's gone. I didn't realise because I'm a kid, but my mum's freaking out and stuff. And then she told me, I never tell anybody that because I'll never believe it. But that is what got me into UFOs. It appeared, we don't know what happened, couldn't say what happened for those 2.5 hours. Shut your noisy bastard! Shove your noise up your ass, mate. We had the time delay and everything.
I just popped in to say hi anyway, so I'm going to let you guys know. Much love, everybody in England.
Well, it's lovely to see you, mate. I'm glad you and your beard are okay, and we shall leave you and your to it, and we'll talk to you later.
All right, I get off in like 20 minutes, so hit me up afterwards.
All right, take it easy, dude.
Keep your eyes to the sky.
Yeah, keep your eyes to the sky.
For you.
Well, that was nice. But yeah, we had the time delay. Unfortunately, my mum's no longer here, so I can't ask her any more about it.
Yeah.
But before she passed away, I did talk to her about it, and she remembered it, and she told me she told me about the time delay because I didn't remember, and she told me about all this stuff, and then she said I don't want to talk about it because I asked her to like come on the show, and she's like absolutely not. But she was of that age where you'd be ridiculed if you talked about it. Sorry, I've ripped my cartilage.
I mean, I think there is still quite a lot of stigma in regards to things like that. You know, whether it's any aspect of the paranormal, whether it's UFOs, ghosts, or cryptozoology. You know, there are still loads of people out there that would feel ridiculed if they turned around and said, "I saw this."
I've never told anybody but my closest friend. And
so many people out there would still feel ridiculed if they said something, so they don't bother saying anything.
She was always scared to. She's like, nope, won't ever talk about it. And for years, she wouldn't even talk to me about it. She was just like, no, I'm not going to talk about it. So I don't know if there was anything more that she knew or something that scared the living crap out of her, but she would not talk about it.
I think the biggest problem is, and it always has been, is that a lot of it has been down to religion being forced a way of life onto people into not believing certain aspects of things like ghosts and UFOs. If you look at the Catholic faith, you know, we, as far as they were concerned, we are the only beings in existence. And then when people start asking questions, but the devout followers would turn around and go, no, that's 100% correct. We are the only living things. And, you know, so if you saw something you couldn't explain, if you opened your mouth, the men with white jackets would come along and take you away.
And
so they didn't say nothing. Yeah.
To be fair, as Wayne's saying, you couldn't say anything because you would be ridiculed. You'd be regarded as the tinfoil hat brigade. However, with the advent of social media, decent cameras, this, that, and the other, we're out there a lot more. People believe us now, but unfortunately, you still get, how can I put it? Anybody can get hold of a camera. Anybody can talk about cryptozoology, ghosts, the paranormal, UFOs as a whole. However, myself, Wayne, Mary, everybody else that we talk to and have on as guests and stuff, we know our shit, we do our research, we know what we're talking about, you know. But you'll still get how can I put it nicely? People who I think quite clearly have got mental health conditions. I'll say it like that. Mental health conditions, and their views of everything are very distorted or very warped, and then they'll come on doing these shows and this, that, and the other, and it gives us all a very, very bad name, and we're still stigmatized as the tinfoil hat wearing brigades because of certain people claiming to be X, Y, Z. I'm not going to go into it, I won't mention names, but there are a lot of people, you know what I'm talking about. There's a lot of people out there who claim to be this and claim to be that, No, you fucking
Yeah.
ain't. What are you talking about? You know, there are people out there who are genuine. I think there's real abduction cases. I think there's real encounters like myself. You don't talk about it. I know a few people who I've spoken to about stuff, and they've spoken to me completely off the record about things. And it's like, fuck, you know, but very similar to the things that's happened to me. But as I say, today, this is a first. I've never told anybody about this apart from my closest friends, you know, because I didn't want to be ridiculed. You know, Mum would never let me talk to anybody about it because she didn't want to be ridiculed. I love you to bits. Sorry, but you know, I've told you all now. So I don't know what it was. Don't know what the time delay was. I don't know if anything happened. Couldn't tell you. Unfortunately, Mum's no longer here, so I can't ask her. But you know, that's what happened to me, and I get it. Of a certain age, you are ridiculed. It's drummed into you, indoctrinated into you in some schools, especially if you go to a Catholic school, that X, Y, Z is this and anything else is rubbish. Like the whole thing about what's that dome that they think is round the world and you can't get out of it?
The
Firmament. Yeah. When the amount of arguments I've had with people over the firmament. Don't get me wrong, not poo-pooing anybody's religion or anything like that. If you're religious, nice one. I don't think I'm what you call religious, but I do believe there is something after death. I don't think that's the end of it. I think it's the start of something completely different, something new, and I think possibly something good for a lot of us. I think we ascend to a certain aspect, you know, and I think there are options when you go and you can choose whatever options, you know, or you get assigned options. I don't know. But there's definitely something after you die. That's not the end of it. It's just the beginning of something else.
Yeah.
But to say that in the whole of the vast cosmos, that we're the only tiny speck of dust with intelligent life on, when you've got planets out there that are billions of years older than us, and the James Webb Telescope has spotted carbon dioxide in their atmosphere, so we know there's living beings on not just one, not just two, but millions of these planets. We know we're not alone now. We know we're not on our own. Yet the religion, Catholicism, stuff like that, up until, was it 7 years ago, I think, when they were approached by NASA to train their people in how to announce to the common people like us that there are aliens and we need to respect them because they've got different gods. And then we had the old Pope come out on the balcony one day and go, hey, it's me, Mario, Pope, huh? Yeah, they got aliens. We need to respect to their gods, huh? And he came out and he said, yeah, there are aliens. They've got their own gods. All these gods come from the same place. We need to respect them.
Yeah.
So, and also the papacy vault. Oh, I'd love to have a look in there. I would love to have a look in the papal vaults at their UFO stuff, because they've allegedly got all this, that, and the other, and they've got tech. They've got tech down there as well.
To be honest, I think I'd just love to have a browse round the place rather than just look at certain things, because there's even things like the books that were removed from the Bible are down there.
Yes.
You know, things like that, which, as if were made public, would probably turn the religion on its head.
Yeah.
You look at the Book of Enoch, he talks about going up in the craft, and he describes the Earth from space, looking at it 2,500 years ago, if not more. How the hell can somebody back then, if we didn't have anybody on here with craft, how could you turn around and say, oh yeah, we're round, it's blue.
Boom.
You can see all these things. You can see satellites around it, you know, the moon and various rocks and stuff.
He was also 350 years old, and being Moses' great grandfather, or whatever it was, back in them days, you'd be lucky to last past 60, let alone 350.
Well, rumor has it, in regards to Enoch and a couple of the others, in the Bibles it just says the Lord took him, never says he dies. And when it says the Lord took him, that's when he says he went up in the craft, looked down and saw the earth. And when you look at the Sumerian and Babylonian kings list, where they talk about the Anunnaki that ruled up, that you know I'm talking about, that ruled up, their kings, their people lived for thousands of years. Their rules were 8, 9, 10 plus thousands of years long. So, and it was only because our DNA was capped with those telomere caps. We were capped. That's why we That's why we age, because the bit we're programmed that instead of renewing everything, it stops at a certain time. So if we can invent a pill or back engineer it so we can stop those telomere caps from doing it, we'll be able to live as long as them. You know, I think that's a good thing. But it's all there. All the proof anybody needs is there. You've just got to look for it. It's all there. I only ever told my partner about the triangle until I met you lot and felt comfortable talking about it. Anytime you want to drop any of us a message about the graphs that you guys have seen over there, you're more than welcome to. But yeah, I believe there's a lot more going on, and I've had my eyes open these last 20 or so years doing this. You know, Wayne's one of my longest friends in this. He's my best friend. And he's seen a lot of the shit. He's opened his eyes to it as well and gone, fucking hell, you know. I had the same with the paranormal side, the ghosts and spirit sides of it. I've had things where I've gone, shit, you know, because you know yourself, 99.9% of everything we do is either misseen, misconstrued, or just utter bollocks. And you're left with that 0.01% that makes you go, oh. The old song, things that make you go, it's that. And it's that 0.01% that has us all, us proper ones, doing this stuff.
Yeah.
We're not out here to persuade you or convince you that one way or another. We're just out here to say, well, this is that, that's that. The facts are there. Go and look them up. Make your own mind up. You know? And that's the way it should be. You shouldn't try to be persuaded either way. Just make your own mind up. You know, and anybody who's interested in the paranormal, go to anywhere in the world, including like where Mary is and everything, because she's in a really good team. In fact, plug your team now, because I know you got events coming up.
Do I have events coming up? Yeah, I have my podcast, and I still have to book some investigations. I have listed 3 residentials, so we won't be sharing out it because of their privacy. But Wednesday, we have an interesting conversation with Paul Goddard.
Oh, right. Yeah. I know Paul Goddard, yeah.
Yeah. So
put it up on the Dark Mirrors wall. Put it up on the Dark Mirrors wall.
I will.
Things like that. Anybody who's ever interested, don't be afraid. Go along to an event. Go along to a paranormal investigation. You know, a lot of these ones that are run that you can buy tickets to, they're normally good fun. Go along and have a look, and it'd be like your first introduction to it. Find a local team in your area. Find one that's not run by cats or dogs or something like that. Find normal people like us, you know, and we'll take you along. And any normal ones will turn around and say, as I said, this is this is that. This happened then. Here's proof that this happened then. You know, it's all out there. Go and have a look. Make your own mind up. We're not going to go, oh, Jesus, it's all ghosts. You've got to.
I mean, I've just booked my only public event for this year.
Oh.
Because I've been so busy with other things that I haven't had the chance to do any public events so far this year. And I've just managed to secure one for Beacon Hill Fort in Harwich, Essex, at the beginning of September. So that's going to be pretty cool because it's at Beacon Hill Fort again, and I absolutely love it there.
Again, advertise it. I think I'm going to do some before the wedding. I think I'm going to do a couple of UFO watches on top of the Oliver's Mount, because here in Scotland you've got a place called Oliver's Mount, which excuse me, is a well-known UFO hotspot. And again, it's there in the media. You can go out and have a look. There's lots of sightings up there, so I think I might do a live from up there again before the wedding, because every time I've been up there, we've seen stuff. So you never know.
Yeah,
you never know. And I've just seen the time, so I will conclude that now. Thank you very much for joining us, Mary. As always, it's a pleasure, and you're welcome on it anytime you like. Thank you for joining us from the Spooky Garage, Mr. Wayne.
You're welcome.
Thank you. You need to have Igor in the background.
Oh, and my O's not working properly. It keeps flickering.
You got a dodgy O. It's your age, mate.
I love it.
It's the cable. I've got to rewire it. It's a bit iffy. But, yeah. It's a Temu jobby.
With my alien. I won't get them out. I've got my lightsabers over there. Otherwise, I'll start scaring the cat. So, yeah. But We will see you all soon. We'll be back next Monday. We'll have another guest on, I think, and then we'll be back next Monday. So from us all, I will say thank you very much, and be sure to watch Mary's shows and Wayne's stuff, because he'll be putting stuff up on the Dark Mirrors wall, I take it.
Yeah, I'll put it up on Dark Mirror Wall. Also, if you follow me on TikTok as well, I do a lot of live feeds through TikTok as well now. So I'll be putting plenty of videos on TikTok and onto the Dark Mirror Wall.
All right. And on that note, I'm going to say cheerio. Thank you very much for joining us, and I will see you all later. So let me just play everybody out. So.